My name is Joe Baublis. I'm a home repair expert here in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And I've been called to this house to fix their shower faucet. Let's look at it together. Hi. Hello. Hi. How are you? Oops. And here's the problem. I've turned the faucet on and water is just barely dribbling out. Let's open up this faucet part and see if there are any broken parts in there. First thing we want to do before opening up the faucet is find the shutoff valves. There's usually two, there should be two, one hot, one cold. And we'll turn those valves off. So this is the hot and cold supply to the whole bathroom, and they've been shut off. Now I can open up the valve and water won't spray all over the bathroom. So here's the knob, and there's another knob inside, and that will get unscrewed. Okay. Now I'll take off the flange plate. And there's a couple of screws holding that on. And there's the flange. And usually on the back of the flange you'll see the name of the manufacturer. It's good to get that name before you go to the hardware store. And then we have a valve. Here's a flange gasket and a retaining nut. Now the shower valve is held in place with a nut, and in order to pull the nut off I have to use a winch, and we get our choice, either a little winch or a big winch, and I've decided to use the big winch. I'm going to turn it counterclockwise. There we go. And then comes out the rest of the way by finger power only. Now I'm going to use a flathead screwdriver to pry the edges loose. Okay. There's some water. A little bit of water is normal. And I'm going to use a pair of pliers and pull the cartridge out of the shower valve housing. There we go. And that is a single-handled shower valve cartridge. I can take this to the hardware store along with the name of the manufacturer and get an identical replacement. I decided to go to Stadium Hardware. I think Stadium Hardware is the best owner-occupied, family-based hardware store in the area, and they were able to locate this valve, which is nearly identical to the one that I took out. Now I also took a close look at the handle of the pre-existing shower system, and I noticed that some of the plastic parts had been cracked and damaged. So while I was at Stadium Hardware, I asked them for a replacement, and they found something that was nearly identical. I'm going to install a new shower handle as well. Now when you're putting a new cartridge into an old system, it's really important to get it lubricated first. So I've purchased some plumber's faucet and valve grease from Stadium Hardware. And I'm going to grease these washers up so they slide in real easy and there's no damage to any of the rubber parts. Now it's also a good idea to look inside there, and if you see any debris, calcium buildup, you can clean that out with CLR, that's calcium lime rust remover, and a steel wire brush. If you do that, it's a good idea to flush all the remaining debris out before you install the new valve. I don't see any debris in there, so I'm going to put the valve in. And the valve fit in perfectly. So here's the retaining nut, and I want it to slide on easily too, so I'm going to grease it. I'm going to grease the threads, and I'm going to grease the inside edge, the part that comes into contact with the plastic valve, the cartridge. And I'm going to use finger pressure only to get it started. And then I'm going to tighten it down with the wrench. And since I used the big wrench to take the nut off, I'm going to give the little wrench a chance because I believe in equal opportunity. Oh, the little wrench doesn't fit. I guess equal opportunity doesn't always work, right? I'm going to have to use the big wrench. Well, I hope the authorities don't arrest me for discriminating against based on wench size. I've gone to get the big wench. Yeah, that fits. Don't tighten it too much. Now the manifold for this valve is set into a hole here, and occasionally there are leaks. And when a leak does occur, probably well into the future, we want to try to direct the water to leak out into the shower as opposed to leaking back into the wall. One of the best ways to do that is to apply plumber's putty around the valve to seal in this hole so that water will drain out if it drains at all. I'm going to put that in. And I'm going to apply the plumber's putty, here's a big wad of it, around the bushing. So here's the flange extension. Okay, and if water drips out of this area, it'll drip down onto the plumber's putty, down the side of the tub, and into the drain. Now it's time to put the flange back on, and that'll fit right there. But sometimes water from the shower gets behind the flange, so some people like to caulk the back edge of the flange before they put it on. We'll do that too, but we won't caulk the bottom edge because if water does get in there, we want it to drip out into the shower basin instead of going back into the wall, right? The flange, now I'm going to apply a bead of silicone sealant to the flange. And I will now carefully install the flange. And it's not quite set in there all the way yet. I'll show you why next. These are the flange set screws. They screw the flange into the valve manifold. I want to get them started with my fingers. I I want to finish them off with the screwdriver. There we go. And that way, the silicone will be applied equally between the flange and the shower wall at exactly the location that it's supposed to be. Now, here's the new flange installed, and these are the set screws here. And I'm just finishing screwing that set screw in. And as that got tight, a little bit of sealant of, this is a silicone caulk, came out from around the edges, but it's a very minor amount. Okay, I didn't make a great big mess all over the place. And the bottom edge here is open so that water can get out if necessary. Now to clean up the edges of that silicone adhesive, I have a low odor, low VOC mineral spirits, and I apply a little bit to a cloth. Then I apply a little bit of that to my pinky. And now you can't even see where the new caulk or the old caulk is located. Let's talk about that some more, okay? So now I'm going to install the knob. There's a cap on the knob. You have to use a very sharp screwdriver, or a utility knife blade is good too. And pry the top off. There's the shutoff valves. I'm going to open them now. And my advice is to only open them a little bit until you just begin to hear water come through. This is water draining out there. That's right. Let's see if I can shut it off. Yeah, that's pretty good. And I don't see water spraying around all over the place, so I'm going to go turn the water pressure all the way open. I'm going to open the valves completely now. Alright, so I've opened the valves up completely, so I'm now going to test this valve. Whoa, we got full water flow there, don't we? There it's coming out. And it shuts off. It's a beautiful day out, and I would like to give thanks to the Divine Spirit for giving me the skills to help my friends.